I need you to know that failure is not a destination, it's not a destiny. Failure is not a sentence. Failure is not a judgment. Failure is an event. Failure is an activity. As long as I know, failure is an incident. It's something that sometimes happens in the lives of every man that is destined for success. What you sometimes call failures are attempts for heights that you don't eventually hit. Attempt towards goals that you don't completely meet. And so they don't define a complete damnation. Rather, failure is a part of your profit. Failure is a part of your gain, depending on how you are ready to approach it. How you can approach it is that you get up and tell yourself, I will not remain in the limit of my present challenge. This thing that I see that has confronted me in such a strong way, I will face it, I will break it, I will rise above it. That moment, that attitude will begin to change what failure was. To some persons, failure becomes a sentence to destruction. But to other people, they learn from their experiences and they gain experience that will make them move to a higher dimension in their lives. First, the things other people call failure becomes a teacher to them. And the thing other people call permanent failure becomes just a periodic or a momentary experience to them, an incident. And they can always rise above it. God has designed you for a better future, and nothing in your past can make it not happen. Your past cannot overwrite or delete your destiny. History cannot take away destiny. You're going to be a great person according to God's word. Therefore, teach yourself to never accept to fail. Do you understand that? When I say teach yourself to accept to fail, it's accepting anything die in your hand. Your business must never die. Your ministry must never die. Your family must never depreciate. No matter what the challenges might be, there is always a better tomorrow than there was a yesterday. Do I say that to someone here? Every time you open your drawers and maybe your cupboard and you don't find food in it, give God thanks and begin to come up with plans to ensure that the next time you open that cupboard, you will find food in it. I'm not saying sit down and do nothing. I'm saying when you look at that, rather than using it to resign your fate and say, that means I'm actually a nobody. Look at that empty cupboard and challenge yourself with attitude and incidents and activities that will change your life and change your encounter. I'm believing God that this will happen for somebody. Amen. Let those things that never happen well in your life spur you up. Let it spur you up. Let it become your energizer. Let it become your driving force. If you meant to wake up every day and you look at the need and the intent to succeed, you will find that your life will begin to brighten. If you went to your business place and you sat all day and there was not one client that walked in, smile and look at them and go back to the drawing board and say to yourself, yesterday nobody walked in, but tomorrow people will keep thronging into this place. Come up with a strategy. You see, the moment you do that, failure becomes your partner. Failure becomes your gain. What I mean is the things people would have called failure begin to work for you because it teaches you how to better your business. It begins to teach you how to better your life. So you're now learning from what others might have called failure. But some persons who do nothing, their attitude, their decisions, their projections don't change when failure comes. They are the ones that become a prisoner to failure. They're the ones that become a slave to failure. I know a man called Joseph who got into prison, and the prison warder that should have jailed him, tortured him, and treated him badly was part of the people who elevated him. The things that were designed in life to imprison you will become the very factor that will elevate you. It all depends on your attitude towards life. It depends on your readiness towards life. I have chosen within myself to begin to disassociate myself from people who tend to always want to make me fail. People who want to make me not succeed. I want to select friends. I want to reshuffle. I want my attitude to be such an attitude that when I am in a situation, rather than being imprisoned in the situation, I will be liberated in that situation. Joseph was a free man in prison. Joseph was a free man in prison, the only prisoner permitted to move from cell to cell, the only prisoner that was actually in charge of the welfare of other prisoners, the only prisoner that was able to meet other people and say, how are you doing? Are you doing well? And did something about their situation. The only man who was sentenced and was jailed for no reason, apparently, for no clear, obvious, justified reason, apparently, but rose to the point that he became the manager. He became the warder of the prison himself. I'm saying that your past cannot jail you. Your mistakes cannot jail you. Your failures cannot jail you. Your inefficiencies cannot jail you. Only on one condition, that you possess the attitude to make a difference. Are you listening to me? The attitude to do what? To make a difference. The readiness and the readiness to do certain things that would change what people will be crying about. Some of the things that people are crying about, you will look at it and blink, wink, and get on and keep moving. And they will ask you, how did you survive? Because you carry with you an attitude that cannot be imprisoned by failure. Tell somebody, failure will not stop you. You carry with you the attitude that failure cannot limit. I'm believing God that somebody is going to become one of the biggest, most celebrated persons in this nation. And not because you were born with a golden spoon in your mouth, not because you had all the things you needed, but because you knew how to look at things that would have limited you and you walked above them, you rose above them. Somebody in this place, and a matter of fact, when you discover your own principles for life, you will not just walk, you will fly. Tell somebody you will fly. So refuse to fail. Make it a principle to never fail in your assignment. Whatever has been assigned to you, don't fail. Tell yourself, if I have been given a mission, I will not fail in this mission. Never you carry the mindset that it is impossible. Never you possess a mindset that it is hard. Don't ever keep telling yourself it is too tough. Every time you have an assignment, the first thing you think is, I must succeed in this assignment. Every mission that you've been given to embark on, always tell yourself, I must succeed in this mission. The moment you begin to do that, the moment you begin to define that for your life, you begin to see an energy come within you. As impossible as the task might be, you begin to find wisdom come, energy come, ideas will begin to come. Always tell yourself, I can make it happen. Refuse to be afraid of assignment. Refuse to be afraid of work. Are you listening to me? I always tell you certain things here. Certain times people call you and ask you, can you do so and so a thing? And even if you're not going to tell any lie, let your attitude be the yes attitude. Yes, anchored on the point that even if I don't know it, I can learn it. Even if I don't know it, I can study it. Even if I don't understand it, I can find out certain things about it. Even if I can't do it alone, I can partner with somebody that can do it and gain more ideas through the partnership. That's the yes attitude. The yes attitude is not that you're proud or you're pompous, but yes, I can do it means that what? I am ready to take whatever challenge it is to ensure that I have the capacity to do the things in which I am expected to do. Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. Philippians 4, verse 13. Paul said, I can do all things through Christ which strengthened me. Can I hear somebody say, possess the yes attitude? That's the yes attitude. Can we hold a meeting? Yes, we can. Can we preach the gospel? Yes, we can. Can we establish a successful business? Yes, we can. Can you do this? Can you do that? Yes, we can. When you realize that you can, all of a sudden your system will begin to adjust to the possibility of that fact that it can be done. I can what? I can do it. A failure will always want to look out for a reason why he shouldn't do something that he's expected to do. A failure will always want to find good, glaring excuses why he shouldn't do what he's expected to do, what he's told to do. Oh, can't you see that this is hard? Can't you see that this is tough? Can't you see that it is not possible to do this? Can't you see that A and B try this and fail? No, don't look for reasons why it can be done. Have the yes, I can do it attitude. Are you listening to me? Yes, it can. Can I attend to 10 customers today? Yes, I can. Can I complete this job today for this client? Yes, I can. The moment you tell yourself that you can do it, you will find an unusual strength to do it. Proverbs 24 verse 16 tells us that a just man that falls, 7 times will rise again. He said, for a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again. But the wicked shall fall into what? Into mischief. He says a just man. It's a man that is balanced, a balanced man. A man that has control over attitude, over behavior, over his thoughts and everything. So this man, he can, even if he goes down, he knows that I can do it. Even if he misses challenges, he says I can do it. I'm going to ask you a question concerning your assignments in life. Are you pursuing them? Concerning the missions and the things that have been given to you as responsibilities, are you doing them? Do you look at assignments that are given to you and say, I want to make sure this assignment is successful? Are you part of those people who easily will forget the assignment, push it to the corner, and you are not interested in making it successful? Every time you abandon an assignment given to you and you don't make it successful, you teach yourself to fail. Anytime you abandon an assignment, if a child is growing at home and the dad says, hey, John, come, sweep this floor, and John does not sweep that floor, John is teaching himself to fail. If the father condones that and John grows up, one day John will refuse to sit down in exam. John will not take exam. John, did you take WAEC? Oh, Daddy, I did not take WAEC. Oh, I did not take English. And John will find very good excuses for not taking that exam. Because John has learned to do what? To not carry out an assignment. The natural training pattern of parents is that if you've been told to do something, the parents must insist that you do what? You do it. It's a training for success. It makes you know that you cannot give excuse as concerning a matter. So, questions you should ask yourself, the threefold question. One, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? If I am not getting success in this mission, if I'm not succeeding as much as I expect, am I doing enough? If I am not doing enough, I'm expected to do much more. Am I doing enough? Question number 2, do I work towards success? Do I have the attitude that means that once I get this assignment, I want to make it successful? Or do I pick up the assignment and then abandon it because I don't care about success? You must love success. Turn around to somebody and tell somebody, love success. Tell somebody, love success. Success is worth loving. If you love success, you have success and practice and do success, your life will be a lot different. You need to love to succeed. A lot of time you read about successful people and they trick you. You find yourself fancy them. You love them. You read about celebrities. You're on social media. You follow them. If you love this thing so much, why can't you make yourself the success? Why can't you turn yourself to the celebrity? Why can't you make yourself the celebrated personality? Why can't you be the one that the world will look up to and say, this is the man I want to be like. This is the person I want to be like. You too can do it. If you love success, be successful. And the way to be successful is by starting now to be successful in every assignment that you have been given to do. No matter how small or big it might be. Bigger than you, smaller than you, it doesn't count. Tell somebody, just do it. Tell somebody, just do it. Say it like you're alive. Tell somebody, just do it. Tell somebody, just do it. Am I really doing something? Take a retrospect look at your work. All the organizations you think you belong to last week, what did I do? Take a look at it last month and evaluate your activity and say, what did I do last month in the church that I belong to? What did I do last month in my office that was so unique? What did I do last month in my family? What did I do last week in my family? What have I done today in my house? What have I done today in my life? What have I done today in my place of business? Every time you ask yourself this question, before the day runs out, you will come up with a reason to do something. Because you will not always want to find out that a day is running out, and a week is running out while you're not doing anything. The third one is, do I replace what? Do I replace duties with excuses? Do I replace duties with excuses? Now, these are questions you should ask yourself. Now, to do nothing or too little is to give room to failure. And the reason a lot of people fail, sometimes they say, okay, failing, everybody fails. But let me explain this to you, that the reason so many people fail is that either they do nothing or they do too little. Any man who is doing nothing will definitely fail at everything. Hear me again, let me sound that again to you. Maybe you might help your neighbor hear it clearly. Any man who is addicted to doing nothing will fail at everything. Any man who is addicted to doing nothing cannot succeed in anything. You can only succeed in the things that you do. The Bible says, whatever he doeth shall prosper. You can only succeed in the things that you do. You can only succeed in your activities. You can only succeed in your work. So a man who is not addicted to doing things, addicted to work, cannot succeed. If you don't get a job in the church, for example, you're not building success in church. If you don't get a work in your family, in your house, in your home, in your school, businesses, whatever it is, you cannot succeed. In any place you do nothing, you don't create success. You can only have the potential or the possibility of creating success in places that you do something. And secondly, if you do too little, you're likely to not create success, because success often does not respond with too little. In creating success, you need to do more than little. You need to do a bit extra. In fact, every successful man goes the extra mile. Success is not created by doing less. Success is created by doing more. What everybody does at 10%, a successful man will go overboard. When everybody goes 100%, a successful man will want to go 150%. It is that little extra that successful man does that makes him successful. That's what makes him stand out. If everybody works in the same capacity, we probably might be gaining at the same capacity. But because somebody is out there who is ready to do something beyond that extra capacity. You see, the man you see successful does not sleep as long as you sleep. He stays awake longer. He goes the extra mile. He does extra thinking. He does extra phone calls. He does extra conversations, extra interaction with clients, extra visits, extra that. All that he's planning. He does extra reading, extra studies. Everything you see this man do, he gives a little extra to it. It is that extra that is the mother of success. Make sure that you are making that body a success. Make sure that you are a part of the contributors of making that body a success. Don't look around for people who are not doing things and say, hey, A is not doing, therefore you will not do. You teach yourself to fail. Each time you do that, rather than look at them, become the motivator to the person who is not doing it by doing it. Do you understand that? Nobody in life becomes your definition of success. Therefore, do not use anybody as a reason for not doing anything. As a matter of fact, the more the people who refuse to do things, the greater and the more the opportunity for you to do things. Because they have created room for you to exhibit what you can succeed in. That gives you an opportunity to do it. Sometimes, how do you get to discover that somebody else is good in music? When people who should be singing are not singing, you discover somebody else who is not singing becomes discovered. Because the person gets up to fill in what? To fill in that gap. Sometimes you see that the soldiers who should get Goliath are not doing it. That's when David is discovered. If David said to himself, the soldiers are not fighting. My elder brothers who are mighty with big biceps and soldiers are not fighting. Saul, who is taller than everybody in this country, is not fighting. He is huge, is not going. What will David have done? David would have said, okay, since nobody is doing it, I will what? I will not do it. David will never be discovered. David will never be a king. David will never be celebrated. And David will not have his story written in the Bible as it is today. When everybody else is not doing it, it creates better opportunity for you to step in and do it. Your success is defined by filling that vacuum. Tell yourself, don't tell yourself, I am not doing it because B is not doing it. It's a lie of the devil. You are teaching yourself to fail. And as long as the soldiers were not going, David said, this is my opportunity. I am going to go there and take the fight. When I take this fight, I will be celebrated. I will win. I will make sure I win this fight. It was a risk. Can you imagine David, one man, going to face an army or even a giant that the whole army of Israel are running away from? It's a big risk, but take the risk. Are you listening to me? Do what? Take the risk. I said success is giving birth to by the extra. David had to do something beyond his capacity. Yes, it's easy to kill a lion, kill a bear. What about killing a giant with soldiers or with spears and swords and all of them are out against you? How much weapon do you have? He had a sling and he had just some pebbles, and he was to go fight a giant, mightier and stronger than himself. But he said to himself, since nobody else is doing it, I will do what? I will do it. If nobody else is sweeping, I will sweep. If nobody else is typing, I will type. Even when I can't type as a professional, I will use my one finger and do what? And pick the keys. If I keep picking these keys for 1 month and the rest, before you realize it, my speed will increase. Before you realize it, I will become a better what? Typist. If nobody else is operating the computer, I will operate the computer. I might not know what to do around, but as I keep playing around with the mouse and the keyboard, before you realize it, I'm beginning to type. Before you know it, I'm beginning to design. Before you know it, I'm beginning to program. Before you know it, I'm beginning to carry out CGI, 3D mocks, and modelings and animations. I can't tell. You only limit yourself when you refuse to do the job. Tell somebody, do the job. Your success is in the extra. You get to do the job. And so you must find a place in that organization where you are going to go in, connect, and do what? And get the job done. Get the job done. We have 1 Kings here, which we're going to read. 1 Kings chapter 2, verse number 3. So you must always tell yourself, if nobody else is doing it, and I am not doing it, then every one of us, we are giving birth to failure. If nobody else is doing it, then I am going to do it to ensure that it succeeds and it does not fail. 1 Kings 2 verse 3. And keep the charge of the Lord thy God to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgment and his testimonies as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whithersoever thou turnest thyself. So keep the charge, take the responsibility, keep doing what you have to do. And the reason you need to keep doing this and keep being mindful of this command and this instruction is so that you will prosper in the things that you do. So that you will prosper in the things that you do. That prosperity is tied and connected to your activity. For the man who does nothing, the man can succeed in nothing. Anybody who is doing nothing will not succeed in anything. So you must tell yourself today, what are the things that I have lined up for myself to do today that can define my success? Point number 1, how do I handle my roles? The roles that have been given to me, the responsibilities that have been given to me, how do I do them? Do I do them excellently well? Or I am one of those people who are very good at cooking up excuses why it cannot be perfectly done? Do I do it excellently well? Every time a responsibility is given to you, make sure that you give the best of all reports. It's excellently done. You will find out that you will have praise of the same. So how do I handle my role? Question number 2, am I doing it properly? So many persons that want to succeed don't even know that they must do things perfectly. Perfection has to become your keyword. All the phrase of no man is perfect is how lazy people are taught. No man is perfect. So you just go out and carry out shabby assignments and responsibilities. No man is perfect. No. Anything, the Bible says, learn to do well. Anything that you must do it what? Excellently well. If you're given the responsibility, do it what? Excellently well. If you become so used to not being perfect and telling yourself nobody's perfect, everybody makes mistakes, just manage it like that. If that mentality comes into you, you are not going to ever prosper, because the people that will come to give you clothes to sew, and you tell them, well, nobody sews perfectly well, they will never return to give you clothes to sew anymore. The person who comes to have a haircut in your salon, and you cut his hair and you destroy it, and you say, well, manage it like that, everybody, your hair will grow again, and the hair will always grow, and the rest, no mind, check, no worry, not too bad, it will always grow. That person will never come into your shop again to cut. You must always do what? Aim for perfection. Even if you don't meet it 100%, because perfection was your aim, it will be difficult for you to be faulted. But if you carry the mentality that it doesn't always matter, and no worry, no take, and no bad, not too bad, it's still good, it's manageable. You don't give somebody a design that you are telling the person to manage as a graphic designer. You don't make a design for somebody and tell the person, manage it, is good, it's okay, it's still fine. Is this not fine? Don't you like it? No. If it is fine, the person who gave you the job will say it's beautiful. Will say, I like it. The moment the person says, I don't like it, tell the person, wait 1 minute, what do I need to adjust? Is it the color, the font, and the rest? What is it you don't like? Go back and fine-tune it. You are teaching yourself what? Excellence. You're teaching yourself what? Perfection. If you grow in that kind of mentality, you are going to be a success. But the one where your client is saying, I don't like the way this thing looks. You say, why don't you like it? You like to complain too much. You will never succeed. Because that client, not just with that client not give you a job, but you will not learn. Because if you have allowed that client to critique your job very well and have condemned it as much as he wants to, he will teach you something. You will learn something in terms of whether color scheme or color balance or shapes or forms or whatever. That client might not be a graphic designer, but his perception can teach you certain things in your field of work. So go for that excellence. Be somebody who doesn't want to just be pampered. So many persons, when you finish doing things, you want to look for people who will say you try. And anybody tells you, I wanted to give you an idea, a suggestion. They said, no, I know you will criticize me. You will not even tell me that I try. Listen, that I try. Everybody else has told me that I try. If everybody keeps telling you you try when you're making a mistake and the rest, you will keep making the same mistake. Because you will believe that it is okay. You need that one person that will point you to the fact that yes, you did it, but yet there is still this area in which you can do what? You can improve. That man who pushes you the little extra is the one helping you to succeed. Because every time you gain that extra knowledge, you become a much better person. Is somebody still with me? So always contribute to the body. Tell somebody, contribute to the body. A lazy mind is what creates failure. A lazy mind normally creates failure. An excuse-giving mind will definitely create failure. If you're somebody who is out there always giving excuses why A, B, C, D is not, why that, and all that. No, you can't succeed with that kind of mindset and mentality. So you must reject failure from your mind. You cannot reject failure only by talking about prosperity in your mouth. I have a lot of people who like this phrase called positive confession. They call it positive confession, right? And all they do is big talk. I will be this, I'll be that. They call big name and they write, they make big quotes. But internally inside of them, they've not. How do I know that you have a success mind? When your mind can compel you to wake up from the bed without an alarm clock. Then you have a success mind. That you get up from the bed and you turn off the alarm. That is, you're waking up before your alarm. That mind that can wake you up like that is a success mind. That mind that can keep you working extra. That mind that tells you, no, don't do it like that. You're doing this thing carelessly. You must do it perfectly. Even when you're doing certain things that is not for a client, if you have a creative mind, a mind that critiques you, a mind, I don't know whether some of you have a mind that criticizes you. A mind in which, after you have done something that is for yourself, nobody is paying you, it's not for sampling, it's just your own personal job, right? And you finish doing it, and your mind tells you, no, adjust something else. You're wondering, I'm not doing this thing for a client, I was just playing around. But your mind refuses to accept it until you fine-tune it. Are you listening to me? Until you fine-tune it. Your mind refuses to accept the fact that you were just doing it for yourself. Your mind wants you to perfect it. Your mind forces you to get it right. Are you listening to what I'm saying? You sweep a floor and you finish sweeping, you say, oh, I have tried. Your mind tells you, no, you didn't sweep that corner. That mind is a mind that can make you successful. If unfortunately you have possessed that mind that doesn't instruct you, doesn't challenge you, doesn't wake you, doesn't remind you that something is wrong. Listen, when you wake up in the morning, you're coming to church, for example, at what time shall I reach the church? 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock? A proper mind will tell you, listen, church starts by so time. You are a leader in church, you're supposed to be in church by so time. And to get to in church by so time, you need to wake up by so time. And before you realize it, it will be. And all of that. I had to sleep as late as 2 a.m. I'll sleep as late as 2 a.m. as of Saturday. I'll be all through getting myself ready even for the service. And by 4 o'clock again, I am up. At least I have about 2 hours, 3 hours sleep maximum every Saturday night. I'm up again, trying to get ready for the service. I can't sleep that long because my mind wouldn't even let me. Across that same 2 to 3 hours that I'm trying to sleep, I am looking at my clock. My phone is on the bed. I am looking at it like intermittently, opening my eyes and checking it and closing it and checking it. I was actually even sitting and working before my alarm started. I will look at my notebook and say, you have an upcoming alarm, telling me an alarm. I'm waiting for the alarm to come. I'm already dressed up. As of 5:30, I'm already dressed with my tie. And the whole place was dark, waiting for church. I don't have to pay transport to get to church, right? I don't have to do anything to go to church. But as of 5 a.m., 5:30, I already had my tie right up to my half jacket, already dressed in this place, waiting for church to happen. Your mind will not allow you to fail. Your mind will not tell you, oh, you are around the premises, therefore you have enough time. No, that kind of a mind will teach you to fail. That kind of mind will teach you to fail. That mind in which we always call African man time. It's not African man time, it's an African man's mind. It's a failure man's mind that tells you have an appointment for 7 o'clock. You start leaving your house by 7 o'clock. You have an appointment and you know you need about 45 minutes to get to the place of the appointment. You start leaving 30 minutes to the time. Then you know you're going to meet traffic and there are issues on the road that you don't anticipate. When I got married on my first job, the first job that I ever charged that paid me 150,000 naira in the city of Port Harcourt, then I had my biggest income in terms of charges was 30,000 naira. That was the first job that I ever did that I charged 150,000 naira. I had that appointment, and how it was done was that when the lady called me to come to the office and meet her, that they wanted to get some web projects done for displaying their goods and products at those early times when it was not as common as. And the husband was supposed to be coming from NNPC to join the meeting and to wait. And we scheduled, was it about 10 a.m. at that time for that very meeting where we're going to have the meeting. Do you know, I left the house, went out, and arrived at that place. By around 9 o'clock, I was there, 9:30, I was already at the place. I went to a fast food place, opposite their business place, and I sat down in the fast food place, ordered a bit of snack, and sat down there. I was looking at the office straight. I sat there waiting. I was looking at my time. 5 minutes to, 10 minutes to, 5 minutes to. The moment it was like 10 minutes to that time, I walked out of that place, crossed over, and knocked at the door. I didn't have to start rushing and sweating and coming. I have sat down, I have relaxed, I have planned myself. The cooling system in the place had kept me freshed up. I had no stress. I just walked across the road and I knocked and the rest. And as soon as the door opened, behold, the husband also who was to come from his office was already sitting down there. The first thing that he did was to look at the time and say, wow, this is timely. At the exact time, we haven't begun to talk about the business, but I had already scored a point with the time. This is not about telling you that traffic was hard, this was hard, the road was tough, this was difficult, and you make excuses and now you begin to blame the devil for not having prosperity in your life. It can't happen. We didn't have to even negotiate much. By the time we said, how much are you going to do this job? And I said, this is our fee. We charge 150,000 to do it. The wife began to price. Is it not 70? Is it not 50? Is it not 80? And the husband just sat there and just looked at it and said, when can you finish? I said, like in a month's time. He said, let him do the job. And then he left. His time was also important to him. And by arriving at that time, I have shown respect to his time. He believes that if this person can be this disciplined, right, to meet up with this appointment at this precise time, then he can deliver at the precise time. And at that point, that same 1 month, I was able to ensure that I delivered and gave them the job. This was not a job I was equipped for. It was not a job I was equipped for. I took that job with the knowledge that I was going to learn to get that thing done. I had not done a similar project of that nature. As soon as I took that job, I placed an order for a book. The book is still on my shelf there. That book, I sweated for that book. I ordered that book, 14,000 naira from the UK twice. The first one was returned, and I lost that money. The second one was now ordered through somebody from UK before that book came. I had to finish reading that book to be able to do that job. All within the same space of time in which I had given to the client that the job would be delivered. Your mind has to be that kind of a mind that becomes your monitor. Your mind is your monitor. You carry your mind everywhere. You don't carry your man everywhere. You don't carry your friend everywhere. You don't carry your husband everywhere, but you carry your mind everywhere. If your mind encourages you to be lazy, then it's unfortunate. If your mind teaches you that you can do certain things carelessly, it's unfortunate. Nobody can help you. Your situation is terrible. If your mind is that kind of a mind that when you are supposed to be in a meeting, you miss the meeting and your mind is comfortable, does not prick you, what some persons might call conscience. Your mind does not school you, scold you, tutor you, tell you this is wrong of you. And your mind does not tell you that no, this is not what you should be doing. Then your mind is a terrible mind. In the book of Romans, the Bible calls it a reprobate mind. A reprobate mind. It's a polluted mind. It's a problem. So be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Nobody can change you if your mind has not changed. Nobody can better you if your mind has not been bettered. Every successful mind will create a successful man. You should be telling yourself, it is time to upgrade my mind. It's time to wake my mind. It's time to change this mind that I have. If this mind is not doing me good, I should make a change about it. In Proverbs 26, verse 13, this is what the mind of a failure does to him most of the time. It says, the slothful man, the lazy man, said, there is a lion in the way. A lion is in the streets. If you read verse 14, it says, as the door turneth upon the hinges, so doth the sloth man upon his bed. Two things. A slothful man always tells the mind, oh, there is something very dangerous. Oh, this thing is not going to work. It will fail. You see, there's a problem. Every time you meet a man that is a failure mindset, the man will always want to tell you why something will not work. If you sit three persons in a meeting and you say, we want to invest in a particular business, and this business we want to invest in, we want to carry it. One person will always be there that will tell you this thing will not work. It's good to assess risk. Do you understand me? But there's always somebody with a mind that will tell you, no, there's a lion. There's a lion on the street. There is a lion, there is a devourer somewhere. There is something with the capacity to destroy what you're investing in. That mind is the mind that creates destruction for somebody. Nobody succeeds by accident, except you're talking about inherited wealth. Even when you have an inherited wealth, without an untrained mind, an untrained mind will always mismanage wealth. An untrained mind will always mismanage wealth. The core to success is the upgrading and the fixing of your mind. In fact, one of the things that we're going to be doing recently within the church is to be working on the human mind. Because I believe that the moment, you see, all this issue of trying to get people to do things, you're trying to force people to do things, it's like you're pushing the car from outside. The man does not have an internal engine that is working. The mind is the internal engine that is working. If the mind's engine is turned on by the key and it works on its own, it will drive the car without the pushing. A man with a sound mentality knows what to do. Each time you sit in the troop, you don't say say this man, he says there is a lion on this. He says, go out and walk. No, there is a lion outside. He has not seen the lion, but his mind creates the lion. There is somebody else who will know that there is a lion and still goes out. A Samson will know that there is a lion and will do what? And will go out to face the lion. But a lazy man has not seen the lion. He will say there is a lion. There's a very dangerous animal out there. And the Bible says like the door turns on a hinge. You know the door. How many of you have had those old buildings, those old houses, where as soon as you open the door, maybe a small wind come, you will see the door will just move slowly. And then you will hear the sound. He said that's the way the lazy man is. He's cranky. His thinking system is cranky. It moves just like that. As he's turning on the hinge, that's how he turns, even on his bed. To wake up, he turns like that door. To get up, to carry out actions, to do things. That man is making room for failure in his life. So my mind must be regenerated. My mind must be regenerated. If my mind does not succeed and they give me money to invest, that money will go. If you give a capital to a man with an untrained mind, that money will be lost. The prosperity of a fool destroys him. So before you give money to somebody to invest, ensure the mind is capable of managing money. So the three questions there, what do I need to make this work? That's what the mind will always ask in your mind process. First of all, there's an assignment. Before beginning to think about the fact that it will fail, what will I do to make it what? To make it work. And am I ready, really ready? Or am I really doing what I need to do to make this mission what? successful? Am I doing what I ought to do to make the mission successful? Another question you should ask yourself, am I doing what I am supposed to do to make something successful? Somebody comes in and says, oh, this is choir practice. We are going to choir. People will not come to the choir practice. Your mind tells you people will not come to the choir practice. It's a failure mind. The first thing is not about what should not happen, is what should I personally do to make it what? To make it successful. What should I personally do? And on that ground, you say, okay, let me take my phone and call people. Let me find out. Let me make some arrangement myself. Oh, the lazy mind will tell you you're not the choir leader. But like I said to you, if nobody is killing the giant, become the giant killer. If the leader of the unit is not getting it done, it's an opportunity for you to step in and turn on your leadership capacity. Always find that office where somebody is not doing what he should be doing and go in there and fill the gap. It will expose you to working. That's how I began. When I began to learn computer, some of you, the programs I use in learning computer, some of you have not even been born to see them. Amy Pro, Lotus 123. We were using MS-DOS. Some of you are clicking mouse there. I know the time we were only using keyboard to operate computer. We use keyboard to draw. Before we began to use all those programs like Microsoft Works. All of you use Microsoft Words. I still have in my house installation diskettes for Windows 3.1. I still have the installation diskettes. I still have my manuals, my book manuals for MS-DOS. Command prompt. When we played games then, Prince of Persia, you have to put a diskette inside the system and boot into that drive to play a game, Prince of Persia. But how did I get to start operating computer as early as that? When somebody doesn't show up to work, we step in. I know a time when I stepped in and I was typing for a man like Mr. Umbo in UST. Until he finds out that, oh, this guy can do. I was writing a computer book when I never even had to operate a computer. I would go to the River State Library Board and be reading about how computer was invented. I will be studying and all that, and then I will go to the office that I will wait in. Once there is an opportunity, a gap, I want to jump in and fill it. There were not too many persons that had access to a computer at the time. When we started African Missionary Alliance Commission, I know when we print in the dot matrix printer, we print in the dot matrix printer right there. Anytime we want to issue print, we start boiling water for tea. We would have finished boiling the water, making the tea, drinking and coming out before going out to start picking the paper, trying to come out from the printer. It's still coming out. And then for unusual reasons, it will just stop somewhere. Even the laser jet that was bought, when the first laser jet was bought and they brought it in, that one became another problem. It was a bit faster, but before it will finish spooling for the paper to even think of coming out from the printer. When I have to do what I have to do today, I find where the gap, the office, I go there. You go to the church and all that, you start looking, these people are not doing whatever. No, you're not a success-minded person. If you're a success-minded person, if you go to a place where people are not doing the job, what do? You fill in. Bible says, and when Jesus went into that synagogue, he says, and he stood up to read. He didn't wait and say, nobody's reading, nobody's reading, nobody's reading, nobody's reading. No, the scroll has to be read. He made himself available to do what? To read it. Successful people, they want to take opportunity. When they see that gap, if somebody is not doing it. And lastly, motivate others to work. Be somebody who can transfer power. Charge other people. Charge other people. Like a power bank. You know, how many of you use power banks here? Use power banks. The power banks have what inside of them? They have a battery. Right? USB port. Battery. Your phones have what? Battery. USB port. So your phone has battery, power banks have battery. Your phone has USB port, power banks have USB ports. But your phones can't charge the power banks. Because the power banks have the capacity. Get the difference? The power banks have what? The capacity. It stores extra power enough to empower other devices. That's why you need to develop your capacity. Sometimes some of us work just for ourselves. Our success just for ourselves. We don't build ourselves into that robust community. You don't build that entrepreneurial base that is enlarged. You're always thinking the me factor. And that me factor is a small factor that doesn't allow you. You need to enlarge. You understand that. For example, I can sing. You start thinking about the idea of the fact that you're not singing for yourself. You're singing to empower other people. You must be like a power bank. You must be able to empower other people with what you have. That's how a power bank behaves. Is somebody with me? Is somebody with me? You don't just sing for yourself. You don't just design for yourself. Your designing capacity must have enough current that can charge somebody else up. That's how success spreads. If you're in this place right now and nobody is getting the job done, it's because you are not doing the job. Because if you're doing the job, you will charge somebody else. Are you listening to me? Rather than say, oh, I was here and choir practice did not hold. No. If you practice when you came, right, you will charge somebody else next time to join you in the practice. You don't come to pick up the negative and run your battery down. No. You take the current and then you charge somebody else. If the power bank owner refuses to charge it, the power bank itself will run out. It will become as useless as the dead phone. So you charge yourself so you can charge other devices. You see, life has to come to a point where you prepare yourself to become the motivator for others. So many persons have narrowed motivation down to microphone. I'm a motivational speaker. But you're not a motivational, you don't possess a motivational attitude. You want to talk motivation, but you don't act motivation. To be positive influence to others, let your optimism power them. Let your capacity power them. Let what you possess do what? Power them. Your positive attitude towards mission goals and commitments to success should be forceful enough to compel others to work towards the same goal and the same success. How you pursue ministry vision should be enough to compel others to do the same. When we got out to clear this place, see, the whole entrance of this place was covered with bush and grass. There was even snake on the road. You saw it, was there. Victor was there. There was even snake on the road. Every time some of you will pass, walk through the track road and come to church, there was snake. And the snake even gave birth. On the road. Cars are driving on the same road. Snake gave birth on the road. Nobody cared. Talked about the clearing of the place and freeing it and the rest. Oh, some of the young guys will just be. It's easier to sag trousers than to use brain. It's easier to sag your trousers than to use your brain. I didn't talk to anybody. I grabbed the shovel. Victor was already clearing some grass at the corner there. I came and said, this is a good opportunity for us to work on this. It was not even dry season. There was no kind of negative thinking. Someone would drive. This thing is supposed to be done in dry season. There was no kind of unbearable comments that we did not hear from people who should have been happy that we're working. But ignored them and kept clearing the road until I finished clearing. We were finished clearing. We were almost clearing. All of a sudden, you know what happened? The boys in the community, the boys in the street began to join. Hey, where the road is clearing, they will now appear with shovel. Pastor Muka join. Let me join. Some will now come. Some will bring out a rake. Before you realize it, at the end of the walk, when the walk anyway was finishing, but it's still a good thing. But at the end of the walk, we were having about 6 to 8 extra workforce. Minusing the people who came to just touch the shovel, to be among and go. But if you waited for them to come out, you will not do it. Everybody will tell you it's not good, it's hard, it's not, it's difficult, it's this, and there are bottles, broken bottles. Kids are walking around that place. Some even want to even play ball. Broken bottles, everything. The road, but it took a couple of working, and the road was clear. It's not by asking people, everybody should come, let us go and do it. If people don't want to come, okay, we leave it like that. No, that's how you fail. If they are not going to come, start with what your capacity can what? can handle. And at your capacity, you can charge one person. And another person could charge somebody else. Another person could charge another person. That's what we should do. Our country, we always like to wait and everybody should come out. Oh, go, go, go. We learned that from the tank crier mentality. In our villages, a tank crier must carry a bell and ring. Gong, 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 gong. They wanna come out. Oh. Yeah, 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 yeah. Gang, 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 gang. If people don't come out, nothing happens. Sanitation day, go to Ikoku, you still see the same tank criers. Go even right up to this moment, the tank crier mentality is still there. To clean your streets, gong, 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 gong. Everybody come out, come clean, gong, gong, gong. Security, gong, 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 gong. We're still hitting gong and ringing bell in 2019 in our country. Is that tank crier mentality? Everybody must come out. You see, listen, we lack the capacity to go and get something done that our actions will motivate and create ripple effects of reactions that will make success born. That's the laziness that holds us here. Our government works with the same mentality. They can't do anything until they say they need everybody's support. No government will ever get everybody's support. No government. Any government waiting to get everybody's support to get something done will never do it. You want to get plenty votes from this state before you do something in that state, you will never develop your country. You will never. Jesus was coming to redeem mankind. They were still looking for a way to kill him first, for any reason whatsoever. The good part was that at least the redemption was tied to their killing him. If not, can you imagine if he needed to be alive to redeem them? They would have killed him. So God tied the redemption to the killing because he knew no matter how Jesus tries to do it, they will want to kill him. So he tied the redemption to the killing. So eventually when they killed him, Bible now says, had they known, they would not have crucified. Meaning if they had known that it was tied to the killing, they would have given him food and still continue to remain alive. So God played them. God played, the devil played them. Tied the redemption to the killing. Tied them. He said, no, naturally, they will want to kill you. So let us make the redemption tied to what? To the killing. Just go. Don't talk to them. Just go. Be doing good. Be doing good. Naturally, you say they would want to keep a good man alive. No. As good as you are, they want to kill you. After they killed him, they realized that, so killing this man was actually what he came for. It says, and others provoking unto love and good works. Bible tells us we should provoke others unto love and good works, not forsaking the assemblies of ourselves together as the manner of some is. Your attitude. It says, you should provoke other people to good works. A man who is faithful in little will be faithful in much. Hebrews 10, 24. And let us, what? Consider one another. To provoke what? Unto love and what? To good works. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as the manner, attitude, character, behavior, nature of some people are. But what? Exalting one another. That is recharging one another. Motivating one another by our attitude. So much more as we see the day approaching. How many people do I pull to work? How many? Do I motivate people or do I demotivate them? Does my conversation with people propel them to work or repels them from work? Every time you want to talk about your organization, you have negative things to say that discourages people who would have been more faithful to work. You are not doing the job, but then you are demotivating those who should do the work. You see, all of this attitude is that you are teaching yourself something. The bottom line is that your behavior will teach you something. And the way you think you're manifesting in point A, eventually you carry it to point B. You will see that the attitude will follow you. Because it is the same mind. You don't have two different minds. Or do you have church mind? Like some people say, use your church mind. Do one for me. How many minds do you really have? You don't have two different minds. The same mind you carry when you are in church here right now is the same mind you are going to be possessing with you when you are in the house. So if that mind can't teach you to do what is right here now, are you sure that mind is going to coach you there at home? And when you now carry that mind to your office, every time you'll be thinking the job is supposed to go to your colleague. The rest. Now let me do this office. That now only me day. It's a problem. You know that if you even go to the office, if somebody's not doing a job and you're feeling, even if you're not getting paid for the job, you're getting experience. You're getting experience. Because tomorrow, they might come, sack everybody in that office. And they need somebody that will work somewhere. You can go there and say, well, I am actually this, but I have some experience in this. In my former office, I used to help fill from this, from A, from B, from that, and the rest. I did a couple of things. I have a bit of understanding. It gives you what? An advantage among people in your level. Because you were doing something extra for somebody else, filling a gap that you couldn't fill. But every time, this is my own, I can't go beyond, I can't touch. That mind is teaching you how to be useless. Beat failure. To beat failure, you need to teach yourself, train that mind of yours. Tell your mind, listen, you must be a hard-working mind. If I'm not succeeding, tell me. If I'm not getting it right, tell me. If your mind is pampering your laziness, forget it. You can wish as much as you can't succeed. If your mind is pampering your laziness, if your mind is pampering a negative attitude, forget it. You need that kind of mind that will always rebuke you in the inside, telling you, this is not right, change it. This is right, keep it, improve it, touch this, adjust this.